Today we are going to interview Jay Van Daring, and he's going to tell us a little bit about his life that he has spent on this earth for 90 years. So let's begin. Okay, Grandpa, tell me about your parents.
I had wonderful parents, a good Christian mother. My father was a preacher, and we had a good, happy family. And I just pray that I can be known as a good parent like my mom and dad.
Yeah. Well, what was it life like as a kid?
Well, as you know, times were tough back during the Depression, and everybody helped each other, and it wasn't hectic like it is today. You wasn't afraid to leave your doors unlocked. You sleep out on the yard in the summertime. Kids would, and not be afraid. And it was tough, but it was still a good time because everybody loved everybody and helped each other.
What did you do for fun as a kid?
Oh, we had all kind of games. Ante over, kick the can, on and on. Hide and seek, and of course, back when I was a kid, kids had to do a lot of work to help keep things going around home.
Mm-hmm.
And we all had little chores and jobs to do, and we didn't have a whole lot of playtime. But when we did, there's a lot of laughter and a lot of fun.
What was your favorite chore?
My favorite chore? I had a lot of them, and I had to slop the hog, milk the cow, feed the chickens. I had to get the firewood in. We had a wood cook stove. I had to cut and split the wood so we'd have a fire to cook on. And whatever needed to be done, why, it seemed like they knew my name.
Yeah. Well, and did you all go to the same school building, or what was school like?
Okay. Grade school, I went to school at Crawford, Oklahoma, and the grade school went 1st through 4th, and it was a time that you, when the bell rang, time for class take out, there wasn't any noise, you didn't say anything, the teacher was in complete control, and she had a paddle laying on her desk that we knew what it was for. So school was a good time. It was a time that you could get away and be with other kids. And best I ever can remember about grade school was that I guess I'll tell about getting in trouble.
Yes, I want to hear it.
Okay. I was in the 3rd grade, and we had a fire drill about once a month, how to get out of the building if it got on fire. But it was a 2-story building, and on the side of the building they had this big tube that you could slide down, but they didn't use that. But me and another boy, they give the fire drill. We'd already undone the door at the top, and well, we jumped in that thing and slid down, but the door on the bottom wasn't open.
Oh no.
Anyway, we got 2 or 3 spats with a paddle for that. And I'm not going to tell about hitting a kid with a brick.
You hit a kid with a brick?
Yeah. Oh, you want me to tell that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. As I went to school in the 3rd or 4th grade, and there was an older boy in the neighborhood, and he delighted in knocking my block off every morning going to school. I come home and I tell my mom. She said, "Well, Jay, why don't you pick up something and hit him in the head with it?" So, next morning I went to school early, and we had outside restrooms, and they had a wooden fence around them so you couldn't see in the door, you know. So I found a half a brick, and I hid behind that, and here this boy come, him and another walking. Once they got past, I stepped out behind him and warped him upside the head, that half a brick. And boy, he squealed and fell down. I threw the brick down and headed for home.
Yeah.
I got home, Mom said, "Jay, what are you doing back home?" I said, "I done just what you told me to. I hit him in the head with a brick." So Mama took me and went back to school. Of course, I got 2 or 3 licks from a teacher and several from Mama.
Mm-hmm. How funny.
But that's the story that everybody used to tell on me.
Well, who were your friends in school growing up?
My friends?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I had a lot of them. I had Eugene Morris, Sherman Radford, Charles Walford, the Finley boy Jr., and Wayne, and Nichols boy, and Webb boy. Oh, I just had a lot of friends.
Everybody liked you, huh?
Yeah, we were all friends.
Mm-hmm.
And we all played games together, baseball, football, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a happy time, good time, until the time come, and I just finished my sophomore year school. Time for tough. I mean tough. My dad called me aside and said, "Jay, I've already talked to a grocery store man here in town, name was Hensley, and said, if you'll lay out school this year and work for him and help buy the groceries, and then next year you can start back in again." I said, "Sure need help." Cause my dad was a preacher at the First Baptist Church, and they paid him $5 a week, and it got to where they wouldn't get $5 there. He'd have to take a cut, and it was tough going. Yep. So I understood, but I didn't realize at the time that what was really going to happen. So I went to work at the grocery store, and I made 50 cents a day. Worked 6 days, that's $3. Mm-hmm. $2 went in on Dad's groceries, and I had the other dollar to do what I need to do with.
Mm-hmm.
And the next spring, my neighbor was a superintendent out in the mines, so he offered me a job out there going down in the ground in the mines.
Oh, yeah?
And it paid more. It paid $1 a day. And when I went out there and went to work, and down in the ground, that's all different. Go down there all day underground. But I got my hand hurt down there. And so when my hand got healed up pretty good, why, they wanted to settle up with me on my hand, and they gave me $1,202.50.
Oh, my word.
And boy, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I come down to Miami and had a car on a lot, and boy, it's pretty. It's a Plymouth. Boy, it had 2 mirrors, one on each side, had mud flaps on it. Boy, that was a pretty car.
Mm-hmm.
So I went in there and bought that thing brand new for $600 and some.
Wow.
And I went back home, loaded up my stuff, and went to Springfield, Missouri. I had 2 uncles and 2 cousins that lived up there. And I went up and I got a job at Queen City Woodwork. And I enjoyed living in Springfield. I belonged to the North National Baptist Church. And met a lot of people up there, a lot of good people.
Mm-hmm.
They looked after me. I was up there on my own. And one Sunday I got up, I'd walk up about 6 blocks from where I was staying up to the church. I got up and I'm going to walk to church. That Sunday morning I got up and there's a busy street going through there. It was a commercial street, one of the main streets in Springfield, and it intersected with North National. So on the street corner there's a paper boy hollering, "Extra, extra, read all about it. The Japanese have bombed Pearl Harbor." I got to thinking, where's Pearl Harbor? I got to thinking, I think it's out in California someplace. But anyway, excuse me, I saw a couple of men sitting down there in the yard. I went down and asked them about it, and they told me, said, "No, that's in Hawaii." So I went on to church, and everybody was talking about it. Women hollering and screaming, we've been invaded and all this, and I trying to get a grasp on it, what it all meant, and about 2 months later, I found out what it was all about. Because I was just what they wanted. The right age and a farm boy. And I got my notice, draft notice. So I had to come back to Paw and get everything taken care of. And I went and got registered, and of course they took me like I was just what they wanted.
How old were you?
Oh boy, I was either, let's see, 41,
17?
40, I
No.
was
18?
18, 19 years
19?
old.
Well, tell me about going to World War II.
Okay. Went down to Oklahoma City, and there's a couple of friends of mine went with me. And so on the way down there, we got to, they had it set up where you 3 desks. Once you went through your examination, you could either join the Army, the Marines, or the Navy. So we all decided we wanted to get in the Navy. So my name was Daring. So they had us going through there in alphabetical order. So I went through and come out the other end, and all right, and I went over and joined the Navy, and I was sitting there waiting. My 2 friends come out, and they didn't pass.
Oh, no.
So there I sat. But anyway, at that time they'd give you 10 days you could go back and take care of all your personal business. Well, I didn't have any personal business, so I just waived that. Said I'd go on. So they put me on a train car there in Oklahoma City, and I waited till they made up a few cars, and train finally hooked on us and pulled us down to Dallas, and we hooked on to more cars, and from other states and all, headed for San Diego, and didn't seem like we was ever going to get there. And when we did, well, this was all new, exciting, and went through boot camp in San Diego. And when I come out of boot camp, they had me going to the Aleutian Islands, and with a certain group, but they formed a CBs, that's a construction battalion, like the engineers in the Army, and the Navy. The Marines were kind of part of the Navy then. So they grabbed me out of that group I was going with and put me over in the CBs, and 6th Naval CBs. So I went and took all that training. I was all up and down the coast of California, from Coronado Island. I was at Camp Magoo, Port Hueneme, Camp Parks. I had a lot of places done, taking a lot of different training. But we were attached to the 1st Marine Division. And, well, we got ready to ship out. And stupid me, I didn't know where all we were going. They didn't tell us what they were going to do or anything. But went through a lot of stuff I don't like to think about and talk about, because there was a lot of my friends, I got well acquainted with in there. They didn't make it, and when the time finally come for me to come home, why, come right down to the last thing. They said, we got room on this. They had a converted cargo ship they'd made into an aircraft carrier. Mm-hmm. That's got enough room for about 6 or 7 men on the flight deck if you want to sleep outside. I said, I want to go home. Mm-hmm. So we did, and it took us 10 days and 11 nights to come from Okinawa to San Francisco. Wow. And when we approached the Golden Gate Bridge, we were going to, said it was going to go under it, and off at a distance. Well, this ship won't go under that bridge. Mm-hmm. But when we got up there and was going under it, like, you look up, you couldn't have thrown a ball up there and hit that bridge. Wow. And we come into San Francisco and got off. They had bands and people singing and cheering us for coming home, you know, and the troops coming home. We went out to Treasure Island. They started checking us out, but we're going to have to get on a train, come Oklahoma to Norman, Oklahoma. That's where I got my discharge, Norman. But had a lot of confusion out in San Francisco, because while I was on Okinawa, they had a typhoon, and it blew everything away, all of our records and everything. Hmm. And after the typhoon went through, here come a tidal wave that come ashore and washed everything away. So our records weren't real accurate, you know, and try to get them straightened out. But anyway, I didn't care because I was wanting to get home. So we got into Norman, got discharged, and so I met this boy from Miami. His name was, I can't think of his first name. Anyway, his last name was Reynolds. And so we got acquainted on that ship coming home. And so I want to backtrack a little right here. We got a weekend pass into San Francisco before we had to leave and come to Oklahoma. So, man, we got in Frisco, walking up down the streets, looking down the street on the sidewalk. There's a group of people looking in the window. And there's all jumping and looking and crowding one another around. What in the world going on up there? Well, we went up and asked a couple people there, what's going on? Oh, there's a television. What's a television? So a couple of them said, hey, you guys, back up. We've got a couple of sailors here who want to look at this. So we did, and they had a golf game on it. And the television screen was about the size of a dinner plate. And it real snowy, black and white. And they tried to tell me they're sending that picture from a golf course. They're right, that was going on right there. And I didn't believe it. But anyway, got down to Norman, and me and this friend, they took us to the bus station, catch a bus from Miami. They said, don't bus out of here until 11 o'clock tonight. And this was about 9 o'clock in the morning. We looked at one another, and let's go hitchhike and I'm going to get home. Wait on the bus. So we got out on the highway there, walked out on the highway. First car come by, stopped, picked us up. And it was a man from Miami. Had a brand new car, and his name was Patterson, and his dad had this overall place right out here just outside the any old railroad tracks. And boy gave us a ride right all the way into Miami. And he let me off downtown, and I went in Tucker's Cafe and called my folks. I didn't know exactly where they lived, how to get there. Boy, here come a couple of my brother-in-laws, Albert and Roy. They come out, picked me up, took me home. By that time, the word had got out. Well, they give me a big celebration, welcome at home. Boy, good to get home.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Well, so when did you meet Grandma? Was that shortly after you got back, or?
Well, I'd back a little while, and while I'd gone, I let my dad have my car, so I had to get me a car. So first thing I done, got me some wheels. So I went to Arkansas and visited all my kid folk, went back to Springfield and visited all of them. And my mother was a avid fisherman. Oh, she loved to fish. So I'm going to take her fishing then. So we went to fishing about 2 or 3 days a week. And one day, a friend of mine we're on Okinawa with, here in Miami, Harold Neal. He was going to church. My father pastored the Second Baptist Church, which is Emmanuel now. And so I moved my letter there as soon as I got home from the Navy. And they put me to work right away. They put me to teaching the junior and intermediate boys. I enjoyed that. I'll get around to meeting Mom here in a minute.
Okay.
I'll tell you this happened to me. A lot of those guys grew in the bend, and they remind me of this. But it was down in the basement, and that's where they had all the Sunday school classes. And but it wasn't completely underground. About half of us above the ground had windows around there. So this Sunday we got in there and had about a dozen boys. So I filled out the report, I'm going to take it out, and I shut the door and went out to the secretary, take the report. Boy come back and wanted a boy in there. Now I looked at the windows open. Boy, it all went out the window.
Did you track him down?
I had to go run them down, all down. Anyway, this Harold Neal, he went to church over there. He was going to church over there. And he started going with a girl that would run around with my sister Louise. And he told me, said, Jay, there's a good-looking girl that I want you to meet. And I said, okay. He said, now they'll get out of school. He knew what time and all. He said, we'll go downtown because they walk down that Main Street. And so we went down, waited and waited, and here come these two girls walking along there. And so one of them was Rexanne, and the other one was Patty Weems. What was her last name, right? Patty. Anyway, that was the one that Harold was going to introduce me to, this Patty. Mm-hmm. So, well, he introduced me to him, and we went in the drugstore there. Back then, the drugstores had soda fountains in the front. So we went in there to get a soda and get acquainted. So, boy, there just wasn't any chemistry there between me and Patty. And I looked over and, man, I'll tell you, that little gal had pretty black hair and green eyes and a big smile. And I thought, uh-oh, that's for me. So, our first date was at church. Sat with her at church, and after church we went out to eat, and from that point on, all of our dates were at church, going to church. And Harold Neal and Bonnie, our friend, they're going to get married. So Rexanne was the bridesmaid, and I was the best man at the wedding. And we had pictures of all of that. So 2 weeks later, on Wednesday night, we getting ready to go to church. My friend Harold got hold of him and said, Jay, said, you guys gonna get married? And I said, I don't know. We hadn't talked about it. So we picked Rexanne up, and him and his wife, and we decided to go to Columbus. And we did, went to Columbus, and she was staying with her uncle and aunt, John and Ida Doty. So we got up there and we stopped at a service station, because she said, I'm not going to do this until I tell my Uncle John first. I want to tell him, ask him first. So I went in to call and couldn't get him, left word with somebody. And so we come back out the car, going to come back to Miami. But Harold, we had popping bottles we'd got, so he went to take the bottle back to the service station. While he was in there, a phone rang, and it was John Doty. He'd got the call, and he called that number back. Mm-hmm. So Harold talked to him, and Harold told him he was me. Oh. I told him me and Rexanne going to get married, we're in Columbus and all of that. And Uncle John said, well, you better be good to her. So anyway, come back out the car and told us. We went down. We had to stand in line as getting married.
Really?
Yeah, as a judge there. Married him. And we stood in line to come our time, and we went through there and got married. And we come home, and we stayed. Harold and Bonnie had a little house out on the northeast part of town. So we stayed all night in their house, and they stayed with his folks. Next morning we got up and went over and loaded her stuff up, and went over to my folks' home. my sister's there, and she jumped me. Well, the least you could do, you could have Dad marry you. So it made me feel bad, but anyway, we was already married, and that was the beginning, and it's still going. It'll be 67 years in June.
Wow. Wow. That's
but,
impressive.
It's been a good life. No big problem. Just hit a lot of low places, a lot of bumps in the road, but we just got out around them, kept going.
Yeah. So what would you say is the one thing that keeps your marriage going? What's some advice to those of us who...
Okay. The first thing, the very first thing, put God at the head of your marriage. Take the triangle. God at the head, your wife in one place and the husband over this way. The triangle. Mm-hmm. And the things you do and say and the way you live, put God number one. And He'll see you through. He always has.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of God and knowing that you grew up in church, tell me about when you became a Christian. I want to hear your testimony.
Okay. My mother, we had Bible study at our house every night in prayer. Every night. 7 nights a week. But anyway, I knew all about how to become a Christian and all, but I never was convicted, really, you know. That whole revival. And my Sunday school teacher, good Christian lady. And so we'd been talking about the plan of salvation and in Sunday school class and all. But there's just something, I listened to that preacher preach, and there's something about that that I just felt the tug, the desire to get down. I couldn't hardly wait till they got through preaching so I could go down to the front. I went down and gave my heart to the Lord. Accepted Him as my Lord and my Savior. And you know what? That was 81 years ago. I was a 9-year-old boy when that happened. And the good Lord is taking care of me. I've been through a lot of different things in my life, but the Lord just carried me through it, took care of me. And there's one thing I want to say, the most important thing about this whole thing. I'm the richest, one of the richest men in the world.
Yeah.
Not in gold and silver or jewels of any kind, but God has given me and my wife a beautiful family, beautiful grandkids, wonderful great-grandkids. They're all Christians. Oh, what a wonderful, wonderful thing that is. And I say, if you love the Lord and love your family and live according to the way you should, hey, you'll be blessed. I've been blessed. I'm still being blessed.
Very good. That made me cry, Grandpa.
Huh?
You're going to make me cry.
Yeah.
Well, I have some fun questions for you. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Did you have a radio when you were a kid?
No.
No?
Nope.
When did you get one?
I guess after I got married.
Yeah?
After I left home, why, someone got my dad a radio. But he wouldn't let the kids or anybody mess with it because he had it set on the Grand Ole Opry
Yeah.
Saturday night. And now some of our neighbors that had money had a radio, and every so often they'd have a championship fight. Boy, everybody gather around that radio and listen to Joe Louis fight. But we didn't have electricity.
Okay.
We didn't have water in the house. We had a hydrant outside. And our toilet was out on the alley.
Yeah.
And we used kerosene lamps to light. And many a night Mom set that coal oil lamp in the middle of the kitchen table. Us kids get around there with our book and start studying and getting our lessons, school lessons. And they were very dangerous because you knock one of those off, you got a big fire.
Yeah.
And so they warned us, and they'd keep warning us about don't be scuffling or doing anything around where the light is. Anyway, after I left home, why, they kind of modernized. Mom got a kerosene cook stove, and so we didn't have to have cook wood. And Dad got a telephone, and in order to make a call, you'd ring it, and the operator would answer you, and you give her the number you wanted, and she would plug you into that number and ring him. And I look back on it and I just wonder, I don't know how we really got by with how we done a lot of things, but I know you asked me earlier about my car.
Yeah.
Well, I had a car, I was proud of that thing. It's a Model A Ford.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it was a 1928 Model A Ford, and it was a coupe, had a rumble seat in it, and the gas tank was right in front of the windshield and held 5 gallons of gas, but gasoline was just 10 cents a gallon.
Wow.
So, of course, you never run it plumb dry because they really got good gas mileage. And the top speed on them was about 35 miles an hour, 40. Of course, the roads weren't good enough to drive very fast. What else you want to know?
Well, and when did you get a TV? You said you saw it for the first time in San Francisco. When did you actually get one?
Rexdale and I hadn't been married very long, and we moved out south of town here on Morgan Hill. There wasn't any houses out there at all. We had 160 acres out there. And we had cow and had chicken, pig, had a big garden, and Danny and Janie were just small. But we bought the third TV in Miami.
Wow.
And it was in a metal cabinet, big cabinet, but in the middle was a screen. It was a 17-inch screen, I remember. And you had, we got a telephone pole, put it in the yard, and then we put this big antenna with a pole up on top of it, and we could just get one station. That's KVOO, Tulsa, Oklahoma. And it was black and white and snowing most of the time. And we could get on about once a month they'd have a boxing.
Oh, yeah?
Boy, people would come out there and want to watch that. But we had a lot of fun out there. We had this old cow, had a lot of milk and cream and eggs. And, boy, they'd bring the ice and salt out. We had a big ice cream freezer.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, we'd make an ice cream all the time.
Oh, wow.
What else?
Well, did you know, we always hear people say they had to go to school barefoot in the snow, uphill both ways. Is that true?
Well, I didn't go barefooted, but we had to walk to school.
Mm-hmm.
And, but had a big sheep line coat on, and we had that long underwear. It wasn't like these long johns, the whole suit
Oh, yeah.
buttoned on. And your overall and a big wool shirt, and had boots, and stayed pretty warm. It wasn't, we didn't, it wasn't all that bad, but it's tough walking to school, especially if it's raining or so on.
Yeah. Well, when did you get indoor plumbing?
Well, now they done that after I left home.
Okay.
In fact, it might have been after they moved to Miami.
Mm-hmm.
But we've always had it since Roxanne and I've been married.
Yeah.
Every place we've lived.
Well, you're the father of 3 children. What was it like when you became a father? How was that for you?
Well, that's exciting. Woo! And back then, you didn't know what sex is going to be until it showed up.
Yeah.
And so we had a girl and a boy. 10 years later, we had another girl.
Mm-hmm. All righty. Well, that's about. I'll let you go, Grandpa, and we'll pause for a minute, and maybe we'll come back and talk again.
Okay. 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 It's been we really enjoyed our kids. We had a good, loving family, and had a lot of fun. One time we lived out in the country, and we had some limousine cows. And Roxanne, she'd like to get out and help me. And we're going to load some of them old cows up and take them to another pasture. So I went up to the trailer, had it backed in at the gate, and I'm going to get them cows in. I'm going to shut the door on them. So Roxanne's going to drive them in. But it's in the spring,
Mm-hmm.
and green grass. Well, she was driving them up through there, and she got pretty close behind them. And this one old cow raised her tail and coughed, and that green grass makes her manure thin, runny. And then she blowed out and hit Roxanne right in the face. And I started laughing, and Roxanne got mad at me.
Can you imagine that?
Anyway, that's just one of the many things that we've had a lot of fun over the years.
Yeah.
And
Do you have any advice for the future and how our future looks pretty bleak right now? But what advice would you give?
It hurts, but all I can do is pray about it. But I've seen such a big change in my lifetime in the way people live and the way our government run. And but I saw when they first started, they took the 10 Commandments out of all public places. They took prayer out of school, and it's just getting worse and worse and worse. And everything is so liberal and so, everything goes. That's the way they look at it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you say anything about it, well, you're discriminating against them. But hey, I believe in the Word of God, and I believe we ought to live accordingly and use it as a guideline for our lives and our country. Until we get back to the Bible, things don't look good.
Yeah. So, we need to live according to the Word of God.
That's right.
Yep. Well, Grandpa, thank you.
You're welcome.
For this interview.
I'm not a very good subject to be a taking pictures out of stuff, but that's all right.
Asking what do you attribute his longevity to?
Oh, Grandma wants me to ask you what you contribute your longevity to.
Well, it's easy. Trust in the Lord and keep your bowels open.
Okay. Everything running smooth and you're good to go.
Going smooth. Yeah.
Keep regulated. That's what it is. So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Grandpa, and we love you, and happy 90th birthday.
Well, I love all you guys, and thanks a lot. And on my 100th birthday, we'll do it again.
We'll do it again. We'll have 10 more years of knowledge to add to it.
Yeah.
All righty. Thank you.
Thank you, hon. I was strolling out one evening for to have a fine walk. In passing by a house, I heard some very noisy talk. I stopped to ask the people what the trouble was about. And the angry lad didn't ask me what it had to do with me and told me to move on, or he would make me see. Just then the dear old mother come with tottering footsteps slow. Again the lad struck at his dad. She tried to save the blow. Not long did father linger, but soon joined his little bride. And now in a village churchyard they are sleeping side by side. One day out on the grave beneath the trees, these words became so mournfully sweeping on the breeze. You made your dear old mother weep the day that you were born. You made your dear old father curse
The day that you were born.
Someday you'll wish you never served a soul. When we're both dead, my lad, let's have your children beat you like you beat your poor old dad. Now it is no accident I happened by this way. Lord sent me here to pray for you. If you will accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior, and one day you'll meet your mom and dad in heaven forever. Amen.
There you go. And you wrote that? You
Yeah.
and your aunt, or who?
Me and my Aunt Bert. I got fouled up a little bit.
That's okay. I know one, and Alyssa may sing it. You want to go sing it with Papa?
What is it?
I woke up this morning.
I looked up on the wall.
Bedbugs and the cooties were playing a game of ball.
The score was
Bedbugs
9
hit a home
0.
run and knocked me out of bed. Come on.
Let's see.
I laughed.
No, let's see. Let's start again. Okay. I woke up this morning. I looked up on the wall. The cooties and the bedbugs were playing a game of ball. The score was 9 0. The bedbugs were ahead. The cooties hit a home run and knocked me out of bed on my head. I went downstairs to breakfast and everything was still. The coffee tastes like tobacco juice right out of the county jail. The weenies did a flip-flop and landed in my peas. I laughed and laughed and laughed so hard right out of my BBDs.
BBDs. Now you guys don't know what BBDs are. They were a undergarment
Underwear.
that come down to your knees, but it's all one piece, and it comes from your elbows and your knees.
Uh-huh.
And it unbuttoned in the back to poop.
Flat on you.
Poop flat. Well, there was another saying you used to always say, something about Fasanola.
Orado.
Oh, those were things I picked up on Okinawa. They just Ore meditation olia. Umgla.
What does it mean? Do you know?
Huh?
Do you remember what it means?
Well, I used to, but you know, when you get to be 90 years old and you're thinking back on 70 years ago, Some of that stuff gonna leave you.
You think?
Oh, I didn't think you forgot anything.
Roxanne.
Hey, you remember my name?
You did. That's good. All right. Well, thanks, Grandpa.
Yeah.
Okay, Grandpa. What? We got 1 minute left. What was that song you just sang?
One evening getting late, I met her at the gate. I asked her if she'd wed me in the fall. There's nothing she could say. She proudly turned away. She's the ugliest little woman of them all. She's bow-legged, knock-kneed, and cross-eyed. Her teeth are buck and her hair's dirty. So I think I'll go on home where I belong.